All right. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer video, I think, but I'm gonna try and do it all in one take because I'm a terrible YouTuber. But I will try and ghetto edit it by adding timestamps down below. But yeah, we're gonna do this all in one take. Hopefully I don't mess anything up. But we're just gonna go over some semi-important / important things to kind of keep in mind while you're playing. Now we've only been playing for about 3 days now, so we don't know everything, but these are just general things that I've kind of picked up on as we play. Whether it's doing some daily stuff, making sure you claim certain things, progressing story to get to certain points. But we have a bunch of topics we're just going to kind of glaze over. And if we need to do any specific videos on more in-depth stuff with each topic, we can get into that at some other point. You guys can let me know in the comments if there's any specific topic you guys want to see gone into a little bit more depth. But for now, we're just going to glaze over some stuff. I have about 10 points to kind of look at, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So we're going to start off with sigils. We're not going in any specific order in these. They're not in order of importance or anything like that, but sigils are something that are pretty important. I don't know if they're gone over too in depth in the game. There's like a minor like tooltip type tutorial thing when you first encounter it, but basically when you run into certain, usually bosses, I don't think minor mobs can do it, but bosses will have like a bar, like a stagger bar, and you have to hit the certain sigils. So there's the X sigil, there is the triangle sigil. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and tap here so you can kind of know where you're looking. There is the X, there's the triangle, and there is a circle. Those are the three main ones. There is like a diamond one, but the only place I've ever seen that was on Barrett's Max Ray weapon, and I've barely seen it in actual situations where I actually need to use that. So that's just a different one, but you can get all three of the main ones on Materia. So again, there's the X, the triangle, and the circle. So when a boss does their stagger bar, it's going to show certain symbols. Sometimes there's multiple symbols, but usually there's at least one symbol that you have to try and hit them with a certain number of times to break that. So if they have the circle symbol there, you have to use an ability that's going to do the circle rune to try and break it before the bar fills up. So it's pretty important to kind of focus on those and make sure you have it. It's a little more important in later content, but when you do interrupt them or stagger them, you do a lot more damage to them. So it's very handy to not only get in more damage, but it also stops them from using usually a pretty powerful move that's going to do a lot of damage to you. So definitely focus on that. Focus on trying to cover all those areas within your party, and make sure you kind of have all those things covered. Now, something I learned a little bit later, which, I mean, we've been playing for 3 days, so later is kind of relative, but I didn't realize it day one. You'll see here, we have Ruin Blow, but we also have, do I have any of the normal ruins? Might not, actually. But there are non-yellow, or I guess they're all yellow. Are they? I don't know. But there are other ruins. So you can actually see it with materia too. So there's fire, and then we find a yellow one. There's a fire blow. So what that is fire is magic based, whereas fire blow is physical based. So if you have a character that's really specialized in physical attack, like Cloud, which a lot of people are going to have him focused, you're going to want to put a fire blow on him instead of a fire. He's just going to do way more damage. So that's something I didn't really realize what the deal was. And fire, the blow spells, you're going to see, it's kind of hard to see, but if you look up here to just the right of that thing, there's a little fire thing, and then there's these lines underneath it. The lines are the blow. That means it's a physical power. Whereas if you look at the fire, I guess you can just look over here too, it's about the same size. That one doesn't have the lines underneath. That's just a magic based. You can see there, deal 210% magic fire damage. And then this one is deal 210% physical fire damage. So again, somebody that has is a lot more physical based and also weapon based. Cloud's weapon here, we'll just use this one for example. But the support materials on them, this is physical ability damage plus 20%. So any physical abilities you put in that slot are going to get that 20%. So again, you put a fire blow materia there, it's going to get the 20%. If you just put a fire materia there, it's not going to get that bonus. So it's kind of a wasted slot. So again, something early on is not very important. You can get by without worrying about that stuff, but later harder content, you're gonna want to focus on that because it really helps. So just keep something like that in mind. And kind of on that same topic, there's a recommended party button. You can see just above my thingy there. Make use of that. It's really helpful early on when you're just kind of learning and stuff. When you go into a fight or just before you start a fight, it'll show you down on the bottom kind of around here what you need going into that fight. It'll show you the different elements. It'll show you the different ruins you need or the sigils you need. They'll all kind of show down there, and they'll flash and highlight once you have the recommended ones. No matter what character you have it on, if it's covered within your party, it'll show down there. If you do the recommended party, it'll automatically put in all the stuff you need. One thing I did notice later on though, and why I said early on it's nice, later on it started putting in like my 1-star ruin abilities on Cloud, which again are the magic ones, instead of like my 2-star ruin abilities, that ruin blow abilities that he gets a bonus from. They were still the matching sigil and everything, but for some reason they were putting the 1-stars in. So it's something to keep in mind once you get later on. You're going to probably want to do it a little bit more manual, which is another thing here. What you can do if you say really like to focus on one character like I do, I mainly just focus on playing Cloud. I let Barrett and Aerith do their own thing kind of on auto. What you can do, if you do the recommended party thing, it's going to change everybody's, right? Let's say this build for Aerith, I like that. She's got her healing staff, her AoE healing staff, and then she's got on her bottom here, she's got a bigger heal, a bigger single target heal, the one on the bottom, the materia at the bottom. So she's got everything I want over there. I don't want to change it. Same with Barrett. I'm happy with what he has. Sometimes if I do the recommended for him, it swaps out the mind blow back for the grenade bomb. I like the mind blow because it also reduces physical and magic defense. So it's nice to have that, even though it's less damage. But the auto system doesn't really recognize that. It just sees, oh, you're doing less damage. But anyway, if you don't want to change Barrett and you don't want to change Aerith or whoever, if you just go into Clouds and hit the best equipment down on the bottom right here, it'll just switch his stuff, I believe, and it should leave the other characters alone, and then you don't have to worry about that. So again, just something to keep in mind, but the recommended party thing has been pretty handy for me early on. I'm doing it a little bit more manual now as I'm getting into harder content. It's just nice to kind of manage it on your own and without mixing stuff up with the random thing, because sometimes it's just not as efficient. But yeah, that's basically it with that. Yeah, that's basically it with those. All right, we're gonna move on to the Chocobo Farm. This is something I haven't really researched. I have no idea, but usually with these types of things, it's nice to have extra slots, right? So I got a couple I can claim right now. We'll go over what those do in a sec. But I think it was 500 crystals just to unlock a second one, and you'll see why in a second. Probably not going to do the 1500. That's a lot more crystals that I don't really want to spend. But for now, we're just going to stick with the two. Basically what this is, and this is in certain other gotchas too. I've definitely seen them before. but they're expedition things. So you send out your you send out a chocobo and you send out a character, and they go out and they'll collect rewards. Each area is going to have different stuff. Like we're at Midgard 2, Mako Reactor 5. These are all the rewards you can potentially collect every time it does a tick. And you do have to collect it, like the max is going to be 6 hours and 40 minutes. So if I don't claim it by then, it's going to stop at that max 6 of 6 and it won't collect anymore. So you want to make sure you're checking this and claiming it whenever you get the chance. But yeah, so what that is if we go down to the expedition areas here, you're going to see Midgar 1. I have it at 90% already. So every time you claim one expedition, you get a random assortment of these awards or prizes or whatever, these items. As you go, some of them are rare. Obviously, the 4-star ones are going to be a little more rare. As you collect them, each one increases your percentage. So you can see I'm at 90% and I still need one more item. That'll boost us to 100% and we'll be done that area. Most of these items, the rare ones, aside from the bookmarks and the chocobo booster things, I don't think they do anything. They're just random, like little collector items. Everything else is materials you'll need, so they're handy. But once I believe you hit 80% or 75%, whatever it is, in one of these areas, it unlocks the next area. So originally, I had both my expeditions going to the same spot because I didn't have Midgar 2 unlocked yet. I had both going to Midgar 1. Once I hit the unlock for Midgar 2, I left one there and then the other went to Midgar 2. So obviously if you have two searching the same area, there's a better chance of you getting all those items quicker, right? So again, once I get this last item in Midgar 1, I'm going to send both expeditions to Midgar 2 until we get all those items, or at least 75%, to then go on to Midgar 3. So that's kind of why I think it's nice to have two slots. Again, it's only 500 crystals. It's just worth having both going at once, and you are getting materials you are going to use, so it's handy. Your characters also gain XP. I don't think the characters you send matter too much, but if you want to send like lower level characters to try and boost them up, I probably should do that instead of using Cloud and Aerith, who I'm using all the time anyway. This probably makes more sense to use my lesser used characters, maybe the first soldier guys, something like that, so they're getting XP. But it does matter what chocobo you use. Again, we're not going to go too into detail on these because I don't know all the systems just yet, but their stats and stuff do affect how fast they go through these areas, your min, your max, whatever. Those are kind of important. So you're also getting coins each time, I should point out too. It's not very many. It's only 5 right now. Again, another reason why it's probably a good idea to unlock a second slot. So instead of getting 5 every tick, you're now getting 10 every tick. You're doubling your rewards there. So those coins, there's an exchange shop, which you're going to see there's an exchange shop pretty much everywhere. There's lots of exchange stuff. So it seems like every 24 hours, and you can pay to refill it. I'm not really going to, but there's different grades of chocobos, and they all have different costs, obviously. The highest I've seen in rating was probably around there. I don't know. I don't know if there's like A's and S's and stuff like that, but for now, this is all I've seen. So again, obviously the higher ranked or higher rated chocobo are going to have better stats, right? So they're going to have different traits as well. So rare drop rates up, stuff like that. Something, again, I haven't really dabbled with too much, but that's basically the basics of that. So you can kind of see your chocobo here. You can rename them and stuff if you care. But yeah, these traits and also these little footprints here kind of indicate what areas they can go to, which again, for me right now, hasn't really been a thing that has mattered. I don't know if it shows what can go where yet. Yeah, I can't really see, but eventually you're probably going to need different types of chocobo to go to different areas. But for now, the basic stuff works just fine. But yeah, something to have going. It's like an idle thing. Extra rewards from it. Why not? But yeah, that's basically it for Chocobo stuff. So now we're gonna kind of go over some shop stuff. So you go into the shop. I'm a free-to-play player myself. I think I spent like $3 for one of the little things. Where is it? Where is it? Right here. I did the little legendary pack. It got me a gear ticket. It got me some red gems, which I then used on the initial cloud weapon ticket bundle thing. It was just $3. Even without that, that didn't really get me anywhere. So other than that, I'm going completely free to play as of now. I don't really have any plans. Most games like this, I do go free to play. I'm not big on investing tons of money in these types of games, but when you do come into these, you're gonna see all these prices and you can just ignore that. In the special tab, there is a free daily pack. So you can see I kind of saved it here, but if you go into this, you can claim one of these per day. So it's not like a ton of materials, but it is some materials that'll be helpful. Some weapon upgrades, some weapon level stuff, some character tree, skill tree leveling stuff, and then a little bit of gil. Nothing crazy, but it's free, it's daily. Make sure you claim those. I'm gonna grab mine now. The rest of it, it's all like paid stuff that I'm just not gonna buy. Then we get down to the gil shop. Every gacha game that I've played pretty much has a gil shop or a currency shop, an in-game currency shop. There's always a free item. It seems to be a random assortment of stuff, but there's always a free item. Always grab that. Why not? It's free. Again, another daily thing to do. And then a lot of these other items, I don't know how easy it is to get gil just yet. I have a fair amount. Compared to how much these cost, it really seems insignificant. So I've been buying them out every day as well. These are all things I promise you're going to use. So it's probably worth grabbing it. Time will tell whether the spending there is worth it, but for now I'm going to buy them all. So something to keep in mind. Again, you can pay 500 gold up, or 500 gil up in the top there to reset the store and buy more stuff if you really want to. But yeah, even if you just want to buy the single free item, it will help with certain daily quests where you have to use the store. So it's always worth going in and buying that. But that's basically it. Make sure you're checking that store, getting those free things. Speaking of free things as well, down on the bottom right here, it's hard to see, but I've already done mine. But every day, every 24 hours, there are 2 ads you can watch that are going to give you 50 blue crystals. Everybody wants blue crystals. They're free. Takes 30 seconds to watch the ads. Might as well do those. So you just click that. I can't right now. A little vending machine comes up. You hit the little switch. You watch a video. Comes back. You get your 50. You do it again. Get your other 50. And then move on from there. Might as well get your free stuff. All right. Another important one is story. This is actually one of the most important ones that I'm going to mention here for several reasons. A lot of stuff is locked behind story progress. All 3 stories. So you can see I finished both the Final Fantasy VII story, which goes up to chapter 4, I believe. Chapter 3 goes up to chapter 3 just before you leave Midgar. Spoiler alert if you haven't played this game in the last whatever 20 years or whatever. It goes up to just when you're leaving Midgar, and when you clear these missions, sometimes these little extra sections will come up. They are ridiculously high powered. I am nowhere close to being able to do any of these. This one, for example, you need Cloud. I mean, you can use, if you switch to the free party, you can still do it with whatever character, but you won't get the little bonus. But anyway, this wants you to use just Cloud by himself, and your Cloud recommended power level needs to be almost 60,000. I think mine's like, I don't even think he's 20,000 yet. So these are like way in the future. The one below that is 148,000 for your entire party. So these are, I've put them out of my mind for the time being. But anyway, those aren't important right now. Anyway, a lot of stuff is locked behind story progress. So you want to be pushing these story missions as much as you can, as early as you can. Try and clear everything you can as quick as possible. They're free to, you don't have to use stamina, so you can do it all in one sitting if you really wanted to, but make sure you push them. So stuff like, what do we got? The character trees, the character skill trees to be able to level up your characters or boost their stats are locked behind story. The synthesis is locked behind story to be able to make materia and stuff. The materia enhancement to level up your materia is locked behind story. I don't know all the specific points, but you want to be, at least where I am, where I have the Final Fantasy VII, the Crisis Core cleared, and I have the first soldier cleared up to chapter 4. So you want to finish chapter 3. When you finish chapter 3, that unlocks summons, the ability to get summons, which are basically just elemental limit breaks. So if you're going into a mission that has weakness to fire, bringing in Ifrit, for example, his limit break is likely going to be better than just using Cloud's cross slash, for example. It's going to be just more damage against things weak to fire. So absolutely, I don't know if there's more stuff locked with this chapter 4 part, but absolutely get Final Fantasy VII, Crisis Core. I think Crisis Core you're kind of forced to complete before you can move on to the other ones anyway. And it's not really that long. I think it's like one chapter. But absolutely clear all of Final Fantasy VII, all of Crisis Core, and up to chapter 4 in the first soldier, because that's where you get your summons. And that's just cool. Who doesn't want summons? Is there anything else locked behind this? Oh, Crisis Dungeons. Crisis Dungeons are also locked behind story progress. So down here, these are higher difficulty ones. And these give you recipes. I'll see if I can click on, actually, you know what? I can click on one back here. Right here. So they give you recipes. So the synthesis, you need recipes to be able to craft those specific materia. So this one would give me the Asuna poison one, which is basically a heal that also cures poison at the same time. But this gives me the recipe to even be able to craft them. Otherwise, you can't get them unless you get them from random drops somewhere. So make sure you're doing those, and you'll see this opens up the ability to buy 4-star materia as well. These are just like Fire Breach, Ice Breach, Lightning Breach. Those are all just like reduce target's resistance to those elements. So they're nothing crazy, but you can then buy 3-star Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, Mithril ore I haven't used anywhere yet, so I don't really know what that's for. Synthesis pieces, these catalysts, those are for enhancing materia. So when you craft materia, you can put these catalysts into it to basically guarantee 2-star plus on your materia when you craft them. Otherwise, you could get like a 1-star or whatever. So very useful pieces here. So yeah, you have all these things that you can buy, which are monthly, I believe. I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to have a timer. But yeah, you need these medals that you also get from Crisis Dungeons to buy all that stuff. Now, the reason I mention this is because if you see up here, we have dungeon keys. So Crisis Dungeon requires these keys. You have up to 6. You can hold up to 6. You start with 6, but every Sunday you get 3 more. So every week you get 3. So you kind of want to be using them. So the sooner you get to this point and can start using them, or at least use your first 3, you'll be able to start running these and not wasting those extra 3 keys you'd be getting. So if you're at 6 and Sunday comes around and you haven't used them, you're not going to get those extra ones. So you want to make sure you're running those. And again, it just gets you the recipes to be able to start making better materia for yourself. Some of these are very hard, but I've been clearing most of them. The sea cave, they're a little tough right now, but we'll come back to that. But yeah, anyway, that's just another reason to make sure you progress your story, to get to points like that where you're not wasting resources that you could be getting, which obviously in a game like this, stamina and whatever, you want to be making sure you use your resources and not waste them. So moving on from there, more on the kind of daily stuff. If we go back here, just like in any gacha game, you're going to have daily missions to do. That was what I was talking about earlier. Make use of the shop service every day. Just one time, so you just buy that free item and you take care of that. So that'll progress you through the daily mission track up top, and these will give you a little bit of crystal, a little bit of gil, worth getting. So make sure you're logging in daily and doing those. Most of them are pretty easy. Consume 50 stamina, enhance a weapon one time. Doesn't really take that many materials. Perform synthesis. So again, you won't be able to do that until you get to the point where synthesis is unlocked. So you want to make sure you do that. Enhance materia, same thing. You won't be able to do those until you get to those points. So make sure you're progressing that story more than anything, so you can be taking advantage of that. Same thing with weeklies, doing your weeklies and stuff like that. The general missions you can do whenever. Not really a big deal. But yeah, make sure you're doing your daily stuff. If you go to the season pass, whether you buy it or not, if you go to explore, there are daily, weekly, and seasonal objectives to do there, which help you progress on the track. And you can kind of still get stuff on the free track up top. You can get some crystals here and there. So again, worth making sure you're doing those every day. Yeah, that's basically it for the kind of daily stuff. Next, co-op. Co-op, from what I'm seeing, is very, very useful. Very, very good to make sure you're spending your stamina on that. Probably the best use of stamina. So I did a little test earlier. Currently, I can do hard 2 on each of these. And that was getting me double the amount of rewards. So this, for example, gets you steel stuff, right? So when you're upgrading your weapons, these are the things you use to limit or to level break them or raise their level cap. So I was getting double the amount of these as I was from just going over to the normal enhancement stuff, the weapon enhancement stuff, and looking for steel and running these. So it's, I believe, 3 more stamina. I think the co-op was 18. This is 15. And I was getting double the materials. Plus, you're also getting other stuff in co-op as well. You're getting extra materials for materia stuff. So if you see right, we'll just go to this one. It doesn't really matter. So you're getting all these crystals and stuff for synthesizing materia. So you're getting bonus on top of it. Even though you're using a little bit more stamina, you're getting double your rewards plus others. Plus, one of the potentially most important parts is the co-op medals. So you're getting these co-op medals. I think you get about 12-ish each time you run a co-op event. And what that does is it gives you these medals that you can use to buy more materials. So one of the important ones are the specific weapon parts. So these ones are cloud specific. So you know how when you upgrade a weapon, you need duplicates of that weapon or the extra materials you get from it. The cloud specific ones can be used towards anything. So you might get Murasame materials from opening duplicate Murasames, but you can only use that for the Murasame. Whereas the cloud specific ones you can use on anything. So you can get 20 here. Keep in mind for each star you're basically spending 200, but that 20 can help out. So weekly, you can get up to 2,000 of these medals. And then you can hold up to 5,000, but you want to try and ideally get that 2,000 every week. Just because, again, there's so much stuff in here you can buy. These things along the top here are all weapon upgrade things that are right now these nanocube models. They're a little bit harder for me to get, especially the 2s. I can get the 1s, but the 2s are a little bit harder. But I can just straight up buy them with the metal shop stuff. So these are really handy to have. Make sure you're running co-op. If you need specific stuff you can't get in co-op, then you can run that, like character skill tree, memory crystals or whatever. Those you're not going to get from co-op. But if you need weapon enhancement stuff or materia enhancement stuff, absolutely be running co-op as often as possible. it's probably your best use of stamina. So do not shy away from doing co-op. It's definitely the best use of your stamina. Moving on from there, this is something that I think is going to be a bit more of something that needs its own video because it's a little more detailed. So I didn't completely understand what our abilities were when I first looked at them, or how they worked. I knew what they were. I didn't know how they worked. So when you look at these, you open up the details for it. There's different levels and there's different point requirements. I had no idea how to get the points. So I opened this up. I said, okay, so level 1, I need 1 point. Oh, I have 16. That's great. So I have this. So I can get up to level 3, which is plus 60 physical attack, plus 15% physical attack. I think it gives you both. But I'm not 100% sure there. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both. But either way, we have 16, so we meet the level 3 requirement. So that is the bonus we get. Now, the next one, we need 25 points. That's a long way away. That's 9 points away from where we're at. But that's a nice little boost. I don't know how you get points, or I didn't know how you get points. If any of you have played Monster Hunter, you'll have an idea. So if we look at the boost physical attack, this sword, while it's equipped on me, gives me, in my main hand, gives me 16 points. So that's the total. Now, if there's another weapon that gives me physical attack, let's see if I can find one quick. Somewhere? There we go. So Barrett's W machine gives me 3 points. Not very much, but that adds on to the 16 I had from before, and would put me at 19. However, I didn't really understand at first when it talks about how weapons in your main hand are going to give you the full stats. Weapons in your offhand or your secondary and your sub weapons are going to give you 50% of stats. So I have my Murasame in my offhand right now, so it's going to give me 50% of that physical boost attack, physical attack boost. So I'm only going to get 8 points towards my total. So you can actually look at the R ability totals here, and it'll show you what you're getting and where you're getting it from. So again, the Murasame was 16 points, but you can see in the list here, just up here, that it's only giving me 8 because it's in my, I think it's in my sub weapon slot. Either way, sub weapon, offhand, whatever, it's giving me 50%. So I'm not getting as much. So yeah, you can see kind of where you're at. So I'm currently getting the level 2 boost. I have 13 points total. And then I need 2 more points to hit the next tier. So that's how that kind of section works. And it's, again, if you've played Monster Hunter, this should all look very familiar. Trying to think, earplugs. You got 1 point from one piece of gear, 2 points from another piece of gear, and that gets you the first tier of earplugs. And then if you add more, you're going to get higher tiers. But that's basically how this system works. I went into that a little more detailed than I expected to, but I didn't understand it at first. Now I do. So hopefully you do as well. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. Just because, again, I didn't really know how it worked. So it's nice to know now how it works, and it kind of lets you shift stuff around. It lets you know what to focus on in the in your sub slots, for example. So in our sub slot, let's say we need 5 more points to get to the next tier of boost attack, and we only have items that would give us 4 points. Then it's kind of a waste. So we could put something in there like an HP boost that we could actually take advantage of, instead of an attack boost that we're not going to get any bonus from. So something to keep in mind there when you're doing your loadouts and stuff. Experiment with it. You'll kind of figure it out. All right, last thing that I want to talk about for now is the character skill trees. They're whatever. You want to make sure you're doing them. You want to be leveling up your characters. Again, some of these things are going to be locked behind story progress. So if we go down to Cloud's first page here, your Blade Beam. So you can unlock other limit breaks by doing a lot of stuff. So consume 300 stamina with Cloud in your party. Use his limit break 10 times. The rest are all just delivery things, but those ones at the top two, those are things you want to start progressing as soon as possible, right? So once you get to that point in the story, I don't really remember when that unlocks, but if you don't have it unlocked there yet, you can go to it and it'll tell you you got to finish X story to be able to do it. You want to get that unlocked and going as soon as possible, just to kind of get past those quick. I personally don't want this right now, and I don't think I will. Clearing this hits all enemies, whereas this hits one enemy. Clearing trash mobs hasn't really been a problem. I mostly use my limit breaks on bosses, so doing less damage to a boss just doesn't really make sense to me, so I didn't unlock that one. But you'll have to go through all the limit breaks to decide for yourself. But yeah, make sure you get to that and unlock it as soon as possible so you can start progressing that. Now, another little thing, I was trying to unlock this cross slash and it showed me how many points I needed. We can do it here. So if I click on the end here, it's going to say I need 20 Cloud memory crystals. I need 32 of the sword crystals, 8 of the magic crystals, and 8 of the, I think it's healing crystals. I thought it was just for that slot, but it's actually showing you how much you need for the entire distance to that. So if I went here, see, it's only going to show me the 20 and the 12. But as you click on other ones, it's going to add and add and add. So you can actually unlock an entire row or entire branch at a time instead of doing them each individually as I was doing. So yeah, you could, if you really wanted to, if you had all the materials, you could click on this health boost one, and it would do all the ones leading up to it. Just in a little kind of quality of life thing to make it a little easier if you want to mass upgrade on the character skill tree. But yeah, that was something I found out just actually very recently. You can see the summon one as well. The summon one's a little bit different. We go to Ifrit here. All of these just take his own memory crystals, which you can farm from his fight to boost his. He's only got like 2 things you can boost: his charge speed or his potency. But you can also level up his actual limit breaks as well. To get to his next limit break, his Hellfire, a little more difficult to do. You have to get his first one to level 5 first. You got to do his very hard fight. Consume 1500 stamina in solo content. Lots of harder stuff you have to do. So that's going to be a ways off. But yeah, that's what the summon skill tree looks like. So yeah, make sure you get into that. Some of these summons are actually kind of hard to unlock as well. So Shiva is who I'm working on now. I have to clear her trial on normal. I have to consume 500 stamina in solo, 100 in co-op. We have to be able to do the crisis dungeon on S plus normal, which I've already done. I guess I'm gonna have to run it again. Perform synthesis, memory crystals, etc., etc. So a lot more work on those ones. But again, basically what I'm seeing is that summons are basically just elemental limit breaks. So it replaces your limit breaks. So again, with Cloud, actually I'll go there to show you. With Cloud, his cross slash is, I have it at level 3 now, so it's 1400% physical magic non-elemental damage to a single enemy. Charge speed 1800. So if you click over here, once you have them, you got your summons. So Radiant Plume is 1015%, so it's less than the 1400 of cross slash, but it's fire damage. We're slowly starting to, as we level up the skill tree for Ifrit, we're lowering the charge speed and increasing the potency, so that damage will go up. But it's single target as well and does less damage, but if it's a fire weak mob or boss, it's likely going to do more than that 1400 from cross slash. So really so far, these limit breaks are just like elemental specific limit breaks that you'd bring into a boss fight that's weak to that. So if we look at the co-op stuff real quick, and let's say, I don't know if any of them are ice or fire weak. Behemoth is ice. So if we went into this behemoth fight, or this red dragon fight, he is weak to ice. We'd want to bring Shiva. Shiva would probably do more damage. So yeah, just something to keep in mind with summons. They seem to be basically just, if you really want to focus in on an element for your limit break, you probably want to take one of the summons. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. That's kind of all I wanted to go over for now, at least in terms of stuff I had written down to talk about. But if there's anything you want me to specifically go into in a little more detail, or another topic that maybe I missed, by all means, let me know in the comments. Again, I'm going to try and edit this so that you can kind of, well, might be a little bit too late. I said it at the beginning and you'll see there's timestamps, but just in case, there should be timestamps down below once I edit them in to get to each of those individual spots if you want to specifically see certain parts of the topics we went over. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see. I'm still kind of learning the game as well, so if I don't know a certain topic, I'll certainly try and learn it and try and get some information on it. But yeah, that's basically it for now. I'm gonna keep playing, gotta spend some stamina here. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Oh, actually, one more thing I just thought of. Player level. Player level is a pretty important thing too. It's a little bit harder to just straight up focus on that, but player level will unlock your extra slots in your sub equipment. So we got to get to player level 15, which we're getting pretty close to, and that'll unlock our last sub spot. And again, that's going to boost your stats a fair amount with items. So another important thing to consider, but that's a little bit harder to narrow in on. It'll eventually just happen. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Again, if there's anything you want to know specifically, or any topics you want me to cover or go into more depth on, let me know, and I'll do my best to get those done. Yeah, thanks for watching.